I'm back, and this is the Save Point, not the Man Point. What's up, Monmouth University? Welcome to the Save Point, your #1 source for anything gaming. I'm your host, Marissa.
And I'm John. And in today's episode, we have updates from Nintendo, comics in the news, and an update on Project M.
We also have a game review. We'll be taking a look at the new Halo 5 trailers, and we'll be discussing Arrow and The Flash.
But first, here's Chris with your Project M update.
Followed by Dave with your comics in the news.
Spoiler alert, it was the business CEO who did it.
What is up, Save Pointers? Now you know that I am a huge fan, maybe even an addict, of the Smash Bros. Series, specifically the Project M mod for Brawl. Now here is the news. Project M 3.5 was recently released a few months ago, giving us new stages, character balances, new skins, new modes, and an overall more pleasant experience while playing the game. On March 29th, the Project M development team released the trailer for the new version of the game, Project M 3.6. Now from the trailer, we can see that Bowser is again up to his shenanigans, basically wrecking Peach at the beginning. However, that is only a segue into the major changes. We will be getting brand new stages. One modeled after the inside of Bowser's castle. This stage is pretty flat, but the gimmick to the stage is that on each edge of the main stage, there are two thwomps waiting to fall and break what looks to be bridges that extend outwards towards the blast zones. We also see the return of the beloved melee skin of Battlefield, and a new HD remake of Saffron City. There's also a Mario Galaxy-esque looking stage, as well as a new rendition of Delfino Plaza. New options for stage skins are available, with some Project M remakes of old favorites from Smash 64 and Melee. And new skins for characters are also coming. From the trailer, we see what looks to be a black Mecha Charizard and an orange Diddy. Little is known about changes to the game mechanics, but we'll definitely have those for you once it releases and I can get my hands on the changelog. Well, that's all I have for today, Save Pointers. Be sure to stay buckled in for more Smash updates. See ya!
Hey, Save Pointers. So this week I have 3 must-buy comics of the week, and they're the last issues of DC's 3 weekly comics. Convergence might be starting this week, but there are several stories from DC's past year that have just finished up, and they not only influence the events of Convergence, but they set up DC's new June lineup. In a year that saw 3 concurrent weeklies from DC during the last few months, readers have been awaiting a while for the answers from Batman Eternal, The New 52, Future's End, and Earth 2, World's End. Surprisingly, a couple of the endings aren't exactly happy, and all of them will be influencing what's coming up in DC's books. Now, I need to give a spoiler warning before I get any further into this. If you plan on reading these books and don't want them spoiled, leave the room right now. Get out. Go. So, without further ado, let's delve into what we learned at the end of the 3 DC weeklies and what that means for the future of the DCU. Actually, before I get into Batman Eternal, I want to state here on the record that this is my new favorite Batman story ever. Just the fact that we got a continual Batman story every week for the last year was amazing on its own. But the story that came out of it was even more incredible. Batman Eternal ended with Gotham City itself being the ultimate hero, taking down Lincoln March, who was just recently revealed to be the true mastermind behind the year-long story. Lincoln was the Court of the Owl's secret weapon from Scott Snyder's amazing Night of the Owls storyline. The issue began with a flashback to the Court of the Owls event several years ago, when Cluemaster first approached the court to get funding for his plan. But he discovered the court had been killed by Lincoln March, and instead pitched his idea to the villain, who claims to be Bruce Wayne's secret younger brother, Thomas Wayne Jr. But as the comics switch back to the present day, readers are reminded that Cluemaster, even though the D-list villain actually pulled off his plan, has been killed by Lincoln. And the owlish villain is about to enact his revenge on his supposed brother when Jim Gordon and the GCPD call Gotham City residents into action. Using some type of loudspeaker system and a whole lot of bat signals, Gordon makes this big speech about Gotham being heroic and fighting back, and it works. Not only do the residents begin to take back their city, But Cluemaster's daughter, Stephanie Brown, aka the Spoiler, who was running away at the time, decides to come back and help. And in a moment that should make Spoiler fans happy, Stephanie Brown is the first Bat family member to punch Lincoln Mark right in the face. After every Bat family member is recruited by Julia Pennyworth to help out, the battle turns, and Lincoln March is confronted by, well, just about everyone associated with Gotham. A splash page shows Lincoln March towering over a weakened Batman on the ground, but behind Bruce are Katana, Spoiler, Batwing, Batwoman, Bluebird, but wait, there's more, Jim Gordon, Batgirl, Red Robin, Red Hood, Black Canary, and my personal favorite, Talon, who hasn't been seen since the Night of the Owls. Lincoln escapes into the sewers, but we all know what lies below Gotham, don't we? Lincoln is taken down by the Court of the Owls. They put him in a coffin, and according to their dialogue, it appears that Lincoln March will be on ice for about a decade or so, which probably means that Scott Snyder and friends would prefer that other Bat writers don't use him for a bit. In the aftermath, Redheads Vicky Vale and Barbara Gordon are shown with their policemen of choice, Babs being loyal to her dad, and Vicky being not so loyal to Jason Bard, the bad guy turned police commissioner turned good guy. Despite their relationship, Vicky's going to report all of Jason's wrongdoings, but he has already resigned as police commissioner and seems willing to serve time for his crimes. The two of them run off to collaborate on an exclusive newspaper story where he plans to confess his sins. That means Jim Gordon is now unemployed, and Barbara Gordon reminisces fondly to her father about a friend whom we know is Jason Todd, for whom she's apparently got feelings. And she's not alone on that end. Jason Todd is shown sitting in a low-life bar wishing he could date Barbara, and he almost calls her for a date, but unfortunately decides not to in the end. I have to admit, I thought the end of this story would set up DC's all-new Batman in June, but it doesn't seem to have done that. The issue that will most likely set up the new Batman status quo in June will be the final issue of Scott Snyder's last Joker storyline, Endgame, in Batman number 40, coming out April 29th. Now on to the New 52, Future's End. DC warned us that more than one future would play a part in Future's End, and nowhere is that more apparent than the final issue of the weekly. With Brainiac being defeated a few issues ago, and most other storylines wrapping up in February and March, this final issue of Future's End is entirely dedicated to the disseminated by Brother Eye 35 years in the future time period that kicked off Future's End almost a year ago. In the past few issues, Terry McGinnis, aka Batman Beyond, was killed in battle, and Tim Drake donned the Batman Beyond costume in his place. And at the end of last week's issue, it appeared that Tim had succeeded in destroying Brother Eye in the past so that he could save the future. Well, turns out that Brother Eye was just misleading Tim and the rest of us, because he sent Tim into the future to learn that very little has changed. Brother Eye still dominates the world and has turned most heroes into fully controlled robotic versions of themselves. So, was the Future's End story all for naught? Well, despite the aforementioned defeat of Brainiac, which pretty much caused the Convergence event to happen, there are also a few survivors of the 5 years in the future timeline who have lived another 30 years fighting Brother Eye. The 30 years older Ray Palmer from Future's End has a band of caped heroes working with him, and they rescue Tim Drake from Brother Eye's attack. It's hard to tell who else is in Ray Palmer's band of rebels. It looks like a new Green Lantern type character, and maybe even Spoiler. But I'm guessing that Future's End co-writer Dan Jurgens will be using them and Tim in his new Batman Beyond comic that launches in June. Okay, let me just make it clear that in the 5 years in the future timeline from Future's End didn't happen, or rather won't happen now that Tim Drake prevented the Earth 2 characters from coming to Earth 0, thus preventing the World War. However, Ray Palmer in this last issue explains that he and other characters survived because when the timeline changed, Brother Eye was able to isolate the Future's End Terrifitech building and allow time to kind of morph around it. I know it doesn't make any sense, but it's time travel. It never makes sense. What are you going to do? And finally, Earth 2 World's End. If you've been reading the series, you know that unfortunately, as we already pretty much surmised after the last issue of World's End, the Earth 2 heroes are unable to stop Darkseid, who has conquered Earth 2. So this issue just needs to explain the final fate of a few of the Earth 2 heroes. Specifically, there are ships holding many of Earth 2's residents that escaped from Earth 2 before it was ultimately defeated by Darkseid and his new god minions, including Captain Steel, Sonya Sato, Red Arrow, Mr. Terrific, Huntress, Power Girl, who's now Earth 2's Supergirl, Jay Garrick's mom, Aquawoman, Barda, who's acting as a guardian of Dick Grayson's kid, and Hawkgirl. Mr. Miracle is also on one of those ships, but he tells Barda he's leaving, and he's going to take other New God stowaways with him. However, a few ships didn't escape Earth 2, and several heroes appear to be stuck there, dying with the world they loved, including Green Lantern Alan Scott, Dick Grayson, Batman, who's actually Bruce Wayne's dad, Thomas Wayne, the Flash, Jay Garrick, and Val Zod, the Earth 2 version of Superman. Oh, and I should mention that Green Lantern Alan Scott has healing powers, it seems. So these new multiversal powers that Alan Scott is using are pretty powerful. Okay, so what happens to these Earth 2-bound heroes? According to a recent quote from Convergence writer Jeff King in USA Today, these left-behind folks are going to be taken to Brainiac's planet in Convergence, and they'll play a big part in how that event turns out. King says they're the grain of sand in the calm. They're going to be the pearl, the difference maker, because their arrival is one unexpected random event. And of course, the folks who are floating around in ships outside the Earth 2 orbit are going to find a new home and build a new Earth 2 in June's new DC title, Earth 2 Society. That's all I got for you this week. Tune in next week as I update you on DC's new event, Convergence. So remember to tune in next week, same bat time, same bat channel. See you next time, Safe Pointers.
Don't touch that Wiimote, Safe Pointers.
We'll be back with more gaming news after this short break.
Oh, hey Marissa! Check out this awesome new game! Oh.
Let's play this game.
And 30. Oh! Yo, hey, Allison.
What's going on?
Working on my free throws. Just sung 30 straight.
30? That's not possible.
Maybe not possible for you, but I've been practicing.
Step back and give me the rock.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
1, 2, 11. You know it's harder when people are watching.
Hey, you know, 11's not that bad. All you need are a few pointers.
Thank you. Are you a free throw expert?
Well, no, not really, but I do know excellent teamwork when I see it. Oh, it's so much easier to get active and live healthier when your friends are there to motivate you with a little friendly competition.
Now let's get this game started.
Right.
Oh, she's going for the hook shot. Hook shot. Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
America.
Let's get healthy together.
Hey guys, Marissa and John here with your Nintendo news. Xenoblade Chronicles 3D will be released for the Nintendo 3DS on April 10th. However, its Wii U counterpart, Xenoblade Chronicles X, has yet to be given a release date. A new Nintendo Direct aired on April 1st at 3 p.m., and there is a lot to talk about with the Wii U and 3DS. Mewtwo will be the first DLC character in Smash 4. He will be available on April 15th for those who registered both versions of Smash 4 with Club Nintendo, and for everyone else, he can be purchased on April 28th. The next DLC to come to Smash 4 is Lucas. He can be added to the roster in June. In addition, Nintendo opened up a poll to vote on the next DLC for Smash 4.
The next wave of amiibos, which will include Charizard, Ness, Robin, Lucina, Wario, and Pac-Man, is scheduled to be released in May. Wave 5, Dark Pit, and Palutena will be released in July, and Wave 6, which will consist of Olimar, Bowser Jr., Dr. Mario, Zero Suit Samus, and Ganondorf, will be released in September. Mii Fighter costumes will also be coming to both versions of Smash 4 as paid DLCs.
Nintendo 64 and DS games are being added to the Virtual Console on the Wii U. As of April 1st, you can download Super Mario 64 and Yoshi's Island DS for $9.99 each. As for other game updates, Mario Maker has been slated for a September release, while Yoshi's Woolly World and Fatal Frame Wii U will both be released sometime this fall. Fire Emblem will launch in North America in 2016. You will be forced to pick a side, and a trailer was released with gameplay footage of a Wii U crossover with Fire Emblem and Shin Megami.
Even more amiibos will be coming out in 2015. Amiibos will be featured in both Splatoon and Yoshi's Woolly World, and as cards in the new Animal Crossing title, Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer for the 3DS. Nintendo's NFC reader, which is an attachment for those who don't have the new Nintendo 3DS, will be released alongside Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer this fall. The Wii U will also soon feature Amiibo Tap, Nintendo's greatest hit, an application where players can unlock the 3-minute demos of classic NES and SNES games.
Mario Kart 8's Animal Crossing DLC, which will include the Villager and Isabelle as racers, will be released on April 23rd. More unlockable amiibo costumes will be added in a title update that is releasing at the same time. Nintendo also announced a special 200cc mode that will be included in the same update for the game.
Shortly after, Satoru Iwata corrected the rumors of a Legend of Zelda TV series on Netflix. Details have now surfaced of big plans for a big-budget Legend of Zelda musical theater production titled The Legend of Zelda: Harmony of Hyrule. The initial plan is to launch on Broadway and then embark on a tour throughout North America, Europe, and Australia, just like the Zelda Symphony did. Basically, everyone sings except Link.
I'll have to practice my jazz hands for that one. Anyway, that's all for your Nintendo news. Tune in next week for more exciting updates.
We'll be taking another quick break, but we'll be right back after these messages.
Did you know that getting up and getting active for just 60 minutes a day is all it takes to help you get stronger, look better, and feel great?
Or that fresh fruits and veggies aren't just healthier and crunchier, they can taste better too?
Eating better and getting more active is easier than you think.
Yeah! Keep watching for some fun and easy ways to discover the magic of healthy living in your life.
America.
Let's get healthy together!
Welcome back, Safe Pointers. Next up, here's Pat to tell you about the new Halo 5 trailers.
Followed by Chris and Dave, who will be discussing Arrow and the Flash.
Hey Save Pointers, this is Pat here with all your Halo news and updates. Airing on Sunday, March 29th during the Walking Dead season finale was a huge reveal into the story of the greatly anticipated Halo 5 Guardians. Part of Microsoft's #HuntTheTruth campaign for Halo 5, 2 videos were unveiled, each with 2 very different versions of the same story. The first video, commonly titled All Hail, is told from the perspective of Spartan Jameson Locke, a new character and Spartan 4 agent of the UNSC's super secret and super shady Office of Naval Intelligence, aka ONI. As Locke exits a crashed ship into the open wasteland of an unknown world, he begins a sarcastic ode to the Master Chief and all his supposed greatness. Amidst the rubble lies a near-perfect statue of the Master Chief, and as Locke approaches it, his gaze shifts to the Chief himself, struck down and wounded beneath the statue in his likeness. Locke draws his magnum, in quite a magnetically epic fashion, by the way, and points it at his target, uttering the words, "The one who was supposed to save us all, but now I must save us from you." What did the Chief do? Why did he leave the fold? Did he actually turn to the dark side for some reason, or whatever counts as dark for Halo? Moving on, the second ad, titled The Cost, was shown in the perspective of the Master Chief, John 117, the super soldier we all know and love. The setting and circumstances are the same, but with one major difference other than the 2 adversaries doing a role reversal. The statue is considerably dilapidated and ruined, much like the rest of the environment. I have to give props to the director for this use of symbolism. So the Chief is the one giving the narration this time around, and he taunts a wounded Locke by asking him if everything he did was worth it, suggesting Locke did some questionable things under Oni in order to get what he was looking for. Cue the magnetically epic Magnum draw again. This time, the Chief holsters his assault rifle in place of his Magnum and aims it at Locke. He utters the last words, "You've completed your mission, Spartan Locke. Mine is just beginning." This is the first time since E3 that we've had a reveal dedicated to the story of Halo 5, and fans have good reason to get pumped. These dual advertisements raise a great number of questions, as they often do. Both characters in the ads are confirmed as player characters for Halo 5, and because the ads are so similar but with such different perspectives and opinions, I can't help but wonder myself, will we get multiple storylines based on how we play? Will we play the same missions but have them turn out differently based on which character we assume control of? Is the Master Chief really a traitor? Will the player actually fight human enemies? And although the fans, myself included, are pleased to see the Arbiter make a return, that only adds another question. Will we get to play as him? I, for one, certainly hope so, especially if he's in that absolute badass armor with a cape from Halo Escalation. Can we get a graphic for that? Thanks. Yeah, that armor. All this talk of the dual advertisement got my mind back on something involving two of something. Now, what was it? I can't put my fingers on it, as in both trigger fingers. Oh yeah, dual wielding. Please bring back dual wielding 343. I promise to suck up every time I get tagged by a noob combo if you just bring it back. Hey, you already brought back the SMG. You're already halfway there. Besides, what's the point of having one SMG if you can't have two? Come on, 343. You've got a lot of work to do for that botched launch of the Master Chief Collection. Well, now that my brief cry for dual wielder justice is over, Halo 5 Guardians is set to release October 27, 2015, exclusively for the Xbox One. I'm Pat, and I hope you enjoyed this latest update on your Halo news. Now here's Chris and Dave to talk about this week's episodes of Arrow and the Flash. See you next time, Spartans.
Hey guys, Chris and Dave here, and we're going to go over what happened this week on Arrow and the Flash. All right, so let's start with the Flash because Mark Hamill was on the Flash this week.
Yes, I love that, how they kind of paid homage to his older roles.
Yeah, to his older roles. Yeah, I'm pretty much, well, besides the Joker, his most famous roles, Luke Skywalker and the Trickster in the 90s Flash series, which I also like that Barry's dad in the show is also the original Flash. So that was nice. What did you think of his performance as the Trickster?
I think that, you know, ever since Star Wars, everyone thought that he was going to be like a big actor and stuff, and then you didn't really see him in like any major roles. But then he was just in like the Kingsman movie, and then he came back with Trickster.
He was in the Kingsman?
Yes, he was.
I haven't seen it yet. I have to see it now.
He was the professor
in
the Kingsman. But as the Trickster, I thought that it was very Joker-esque.
Yeah, very Joker-esque.
I couldn't stop thinking of maybe he would say like, "Hey, Batsy," or something like that.
Yeah,
the entire episode, and just the amount of Easter eggs that went into it. So we saw that in the vault there was the old Trickster costume and stuff, and then the main Easter egg of them all.
He says, "I am your father," and oh my gosh, I think I don't know about you, but like I felt it coming, and I was just like, they're not gonna do it, and then he says, "I am your father," and it's like, yes.
The thing with that, before everything started, I don't know if you knew, but the guy who played like the new Trickster, I thought it was kind of funny that in Drake and Josh in the movie, the Christmas movie, he played a character named Luke too. So it was kind of like Luke and then Luke, and I was like, oh man, that's probably just something like nerdy, super nerdy. But I definitely felt it like coming up, and I was like, okay, if he doesn't say it, I'm gonna be let down. But if he does say it, I'm gonna flip out and kind of just say like, why would they have that? But still, I really liked that whole, I trained you because I am your father, and he was just like, oh, okay. So moving on, what did you think about like the flashbacks, the fight scenes between the Flash and Reverse Flash? Because if I don't recall like correctly, I think it opened up with that, didn't it? Yeah,
it opened up with the scene that we've seen now probably a million times in the show.
But from different.
Yeah, different perspectives. It started with them flashing. What do you
Through
call
time,
that?
time
just
tra- time jumping,
traveling,
yeah.
time jumping into the past. And they slowed it down so we could see kind of what was going on with the speeds. They were still going super fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got to see them actually hitting each other, and we got to see Barry leave and grab little Barry and and save himself.
And you saw that kind of going along with like the Speed Force when they jumped through time. Barry's mom's wine kind of came up, like all the chemicals in Barry's lab when he became the Flash.
Yeah.
And then one thing that threw me for a loop was in one of the flashbacks, once older Barry saves younger Barry, Eobard Thawne, Reverse Flash, he tries to chase after him, and then he falls and trips and has like that hologram, and it says,
Gideon.
you've lost your connection to the Speed Force. And then he removes his mask.
And it's not Harrison
It's not
Wells.
Harrison Wells.
What?
So, and I remember talking with my brother about it, and he thought it was like older Eddie Thawne, because he is from the future. He does have the same color hair, but then
Yeah,
he
my
says
first
he's
thought
Eobard
was honestly, did they cast another actor to play a younger Harrison Wells?
Thawne. Yeah,
But then it's revealed, no, that was Eobard Thawne, and Harrison Wells is a separate character.
yeah.
And then Eobard, he causes a crash, the crash that kills
Which
Harrison's
I still don't
wife.
know, how did he cause that? Because there was no other car on the scene.
There was,
Or was-
he put spikes down in the road, and then
Okay.
all his tires
I guess I
popped, and the
didn't
car flips,
miss that.
and she dies. That was creepy when Harrison is begging Eobard for help, and he says, "Help her! You have to help her. Is she dead?" And he says, "She's been dead for centuries."
That's weird though, because if he only traveled 15 years back, centuries, that's, how long has he been time traveling that he knows that she's been dead? Like, because centuries 100 years, so.
Right.
And so he must have been to the future, been back to the past and stuff. So that leaves like the story up for so many different things. So, but the number one creepy thing, what did you think of the body swap? Like
I
the
have no
injection, he just did that, and then like his skin started deteriorating, and then Eobard Thawne took on Harrison Wells' identity.
I didn't believe it while I was watching it. I was like, is he switching? But oh my gosh, he is. What is happening? I have no idea. I need to know how that works. Because we were talking before, in the next episode, or at least in a future episode, they find a body. Or Joe and, was it Eddie was there with him, I think?
Yes.
They find a body.
Buried in the ground.
Which I guess we can assume is going to be Harrison Wells' body.
Yeah.
So then I want to know, is that going to have Harrison Wells' DNA or Eobard's DNA? When they did the body switch, does Harrison's DNA get transferred to Eobard's body with him, or just his face and his appearance?
And then going along with that, we talked about it. Would that affect when Cisco and Detective West and Joe, they analyzed the blood that was found in Barry's house, and then they said, no, it doesn't match up to Harrison Wells. It matches up to Eobard Thawne. So did the DNA switch, or is it just the appearance and stuff? I guess
I don't know. We got to find out later.
We'll find out. Okay, so to conclude it, tons of spoilers in this.
Yeah.
The trailer for the rest of the season of The Flash, because there is going to be a crossover episode between The Flash and Arrow. We saw Firestorm,
Firestorm's coming at some point.
Adam.
I think we could have assumed that Firestorm was going to come back.
Yeah. I just didn't think he was going to come back that soon, because they said that he was going to go on a journey. He doesn't know when he's going to be back.
Right.
And so we do see Firestorm, we see the Atom, and we see a Dark Archer robed Oliver Queen. Now, pictures were leaked about this before the trailer came out, and I saw it on Instagram. Shout outs to Chris Orlando for that, for tagging me in that. But that kind of like spoiled, the Arrow a little bit in a way.
Yeah, because I guess now we know he's going to accept Raz's offer in some way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can assume he's not actually going to become Ra's al Ghul. He'll probably never go into a Lazarus pit. He'll probably never lead the League of Assassins.
Yeah.
However, he will be in some way a member of the League of Assassins.
Yeah, and then my theory was that he goes under Roz's wing. Roz starts training him, and then something in him decides, I can't do this. It's not me. And then, something internal in the League of Assassins happens, and then I think that'll be the conclusion of maybe even Arrow season 3 or it's season 3, right?
Yeah, it's season 3.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but that's it for the Flash. So we will be right back after this short message.
Swag. Swag. Swag, what? What are you doing? I'm on HawkTV12.com. HawkTV12.com? Yeah, it's so cool. You can watch all the Hawk TV programs on here, and it has the TV guide and... Phew, that was close.
What is up, everyone? Chris and Dave back. If you're just tuning in, we just got done with The Flash, so if you want to go see that again, go tune into our YouTube channel. But now getting on to The Arrow. So The Arrow was, we were a little bit let down these past couple of weeks, but this episode was game-changing.
Yeah. I think that may be why last week's Suicide Squad episode was a little slower, because this week's episode was insane. It changed everything about the series. I mean, Captain Lance now knows that Oliver is the Arrow, and then he's not an idiot. He can figure out who everybody else is.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Just to mention, I completely forgot to mention this in the Flash segment, that Barry actually revealed to Eddie Thawne that he was the Flash.
Yeah.
So that was just a little side note. So the Arrow starts off with Oliver and Masio's kid. I forget his name. Akio? Is that his name?
I really don't remember.
Okay, well, we'll just call him Masio's son. So his son meeting someone who looks like Shadow. And then we find out that it's her sister, her twin sister, actually.
Yeah. Which I didn't see coming at all. Yeah, that was cool.
It was a little throw into, it kind of just helped progress. Like it didn't.
And I have to say, I completely forgot about Yao Fei. Like when they said, "Oh, that's your dad, Yao Fei," I was like, "I know that name. Who is? Oh, right, the old dude, right? Oh, him."
Because he's in none of the flashbacks except at least Shadow appeared in season 2. Like someone, Yao Fei didn't show up at all.
Yeah. So yeah, it was nice to see a family member of them and seeing how they've affected her life before going to the island.
And then we find out that Masio and his wife just appear out of nowhere.
I thought they were dead. I really did. I thought they were never coming back. Well, and I know Masio was still alive, but I thought, what is her name?
I don't know, but Katana.
Katana.
She eventually becomes
she'll become Katana. I thought she was dead. I really did. And I thought Maseo would die eventually too, because in the comics, Katana, her sword is possessed by the soul of her dead husband. So I guess if we ever do see a true Katana in Arrow, Maceo's gonna die. So I mean, that would be kind of cool. I think.
Yeah, and we see something in the trailer that we'll discuss a little bit. But what do you think of the interaction between Roz and Detective Lance? That he came in, kidnapped him, and
I liked it a lot because Detective Lance had heard the name Ra's al Ghul before in connection with his daughter. He knew that he had a hand in some way in his daughter's death, and also her being trained as an assassin. I'm sure he wasn't too happy with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was glad they finally got to meet, and Roz really cleared the air for Detective Lance. I felt bad for him the past couple of weeks because he has no idea what's going on, and he honestly still doesn't. But so yeah, I thought it was nice for him to finally get some answers.
Yeah, and that kind of just sparked everything that has led up to.
And I liked how he almost tried to punch him in the face at one point when he says, "Oh, I forgot what Roz said to him," but he just got up and wanted to hit him.
He said something about Sarah or something like that, and that kind of just he wanted to defend his daughter and stuff. Felicity in this episode, she would be a good segue into what we see in the trailer and stuff. But Felicity's decisions and her reaction with Ray and future things. Like, what do you think of her? Felicity's mom coming in was just.
I love Felicity's mom. She is really the best.
she's like, she adds like somewhat like comedic relief to a very, very serious thing. So we saw that Ray took the arrow from Felicity. I don't know how it got him in the chest, because he kind of dove over, so I thought it was going to be in his back, but he got it like directly in his chest, and they said that he has a blood clot, that it might go to his brain or something, but they can't risk the surgery because he's too weak, and he wants to use the nanobots.
See, I don't know why they didn't just like go to a different hospital. Like, it's not like that's not allowed. He has a bunch of money. He could just be like, I'm gonna go to another hospital, and they're gonna take care of this for me. Why take the risk?
It was almost as if like he was like arrested or something, and they had him like on lockdown.
Yeah.
And then what do you think about Felicity's decision at the end, where Ray tells her that he loves her, and she does not say it back?
Well, I think she made the right decision to give him the nanobots, and then honestly, I thought she was gonna say it back. I thought she was gonna say that she loves him too, but I guess her love for Oliver is too strong. Although I honestly, I was part of the Olicity fan club. But no, I think Oliver they can't ever really get together.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to hold true to the comics more so now that we're getting into the depth of, we're past the character development. I mean, we're kind of still in the midst of Oliver's character development, but by next season we will see fully established characters, what path they want to take and stuff like that. And then with Roy,
we thought Roy was dead last week.
We thought he was dead, so flashback to that scene, if we'll put it right here. But, so we thought...
Magic of TV.
Yeah, we thought he was dead.
Yeah. And now he's back.
Now he's back. He was sleeping with Thea.
Good for him.
Good for him, of course. She says she doesn't know why she broke up with him in the first place, because of that. So, good for him again.
Yeah, there you go. Big ups to Roy.
But then we see at the end, so there was a manhunt for Oliver Queen through the episode. Detective Lance thinks that he fully captured the Green Arrow when he
knows he captured the Green Arrow.
When Oliver got arrested. But then at the end of the episode, he's like, what did you have your crew do? And what do you see? You see the Green Arrow on top of the truck. And at first I thought it was going to be, I don't know. I thought it was going to be Roz saying, I'll rescue you now, but you need to return the favor or something like that.
I thought it was going to be just a random copycat who was trying to save the life of this person he looks up to. I thought they were going to just introduce a new character to us, and he would be like, "No, I'm the Green Arrow." So I think I just hit my mic.
But then we see it's Roy. So
yeah,
he's back.
Roy.
He does some nice stuff, and then.
And then he's in jail. That sucks. And he's gonna get. We saw a trailer for the upcoming season. He's gonna get attacked in jail.
Yeah, by
so
like 5 guys.
Yeah, and honestly, I had a problem with the fight between Arrow, Black Canary, Roy, and Diggle was there too. And it was them against Ra's al Ghul and his League of Assassins.
Yeah.
There is no way. I know Roy got trained by Oliver, and Laurel has been getting trained by Nyssa, but it's only been a couple weeks. These assassins have been training under Ra's al Ghul for years. There's no way they'd be able to hold their own.
Yeah, that was like a little confusing to me because, well, I watched it this morning and I was a little like, I just woke up and I was like, oh, I have to watch it because I missed out yesterday. And there was like, at the very beginning of the fight, it looks like Roy takes out like 2 of the assassins, but then it cuts away and it cuts back and then he's fighting the 2 assassins. So it's, how did him and Laurel develop the skills like to take these on, unless they're
magic,
just like
I guess.
terrible assassins.
Yeah, maybe Roz said, hey, let me get the 5 worst assassins we have and I'll bring them to Starling.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
And then we also saw in the trailer that Oliver is going to, well, we saw that Roz appears at Thea's house. She drops like a thing of wine and stuff, and then she tries to attack him. And then we see that Oliver decides that he's going to break Roy out.
Yeah. And again, we saw that fight scene with Roy and 5 other dudes. He got a knife somehow. I noticed. I don't know how you get a knife.
I don't
in
know
the
if that
jail.
was him or like one of the other like inmates.
Maybe.
But so we saw that whole sequence. Do you think that Oliver is going to like break him out and then actually bring like the Green Arrow and Arsenal back to being vigilantes rather than just, you know, the heroes?
I think because now that it's been spoiled for us that he's going to be a member of the League of Assassins, I think coming out of it, he's going to say, we can't do this anymore. I'm going to be Ra's al Ghul or whatever. So, yeah, I don't know. I really don't know where they're going from here,
And
honestly.
then this all happens between the time that we saw, that from now until the time that he's on the Flash.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there couldn't be any other reason for that. And then the final thing that we see is that Oliver is seemingly back at Nanda Parbat. Well,
That's
it
what it
looked
looked
like
like,
it, and he's chained up, and it looks like they're branding him.
I think that would be, I guess, when he accepts a membership in the League of Assassins, I guess you need an assassin brand from whatever reason.
Well, then why is he chained up, though?
I don't know. Well, I mean, wouldn't you want to be restrained if you were getting branded? I know, it hurts, like, you know, especially if you're a trained killer. Like, I feel like if you get branded, your first instinct is going to be like, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but then the other thing we saw in the trailer was Oliver and Felicity are going to hook up on Nanda Parbat.
I completely forgot about that.
Like, what? Why is Felicity even there? If they are on Nanda Parbat, why is Felicity even there?
Well, like, the way that they had it set up, too, it was like, it almost looked like those, like, honeymoon suites that you see in, like, movies and stuff. It looked almost
There's
too...
candles lit.
Yeah, too cheesy, and it was so, like, like, the red satin lining on, like, the bed and stuff. So it was almost, like, so cheesy, but it's what everyone wanted. And it's, you know, it's kind of just like, why did you put that there? But
which, you know, it kind of makes me question Felicity's decisions, because I know she didn't tell Ray that she loved him. She may not love Ray. She may love Oliver. But she is in a relationship with Ray right now.
Oh, yeah.
So unless she breaks up with him before going to Nanda Parbat, she's going to be cheating on Ray. I don't know how I feel about that, Felicity. I don't like that, Felicity.
Yeah.
You're being mean.
And then finally, we saw that Adam will be like the new superhero of Starling, because Felicity says, well, what if there's another person? So we saw that, and then...
Yeah, again, I think that goes back into Oliver is going to feel more comfortable joining the League of Assassins because Ray is there to protect the city.
Yeah, and then no Merlin. No Merlin for the past couple episodes.
Yeah, we saw him once in this week's episode while they were yeah, you may not have caught it. They were doing the televised thing where they were telling the entire city, hey, Oliver Queen is the Arrow, and they cut to Thea's apartment and Merlin is standing there watching.
Okay.
So that's all we got to see of him. I don't know if he's gonna play a role in the future. I don't know. He's kind of just a wild card right now.
Because they did hint at him, like in the previous episodes, you know, taking up the name of the magician, like when he met Nyssa, like the episode where it's like all of his flashbacks. When he met young Nyssa, she goes, says something, and he goes, "What does that mean?" She goes, "The magician," and then you know Merlin goes on with that. But yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see until next week's episode.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
I really couldn't be more excited for next week's episode.
Yeah, they really have them hyped up. So we'll see if they live up to it.
Yeah. Well, that's all the time we have for you today. Both Arrow and The Flash air on the CW. The Flash is on Tuesdays and the Arrow is on Wednesdays. See you guys next time.
How's it going, Save Pointers? My name's Jose, and this week I'll be doing something a little different. I'll be reviewing The Binding of Isaac: Rebirth for the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation Vita. Permanent death, one of the most extreme punishments a game can dole out on its players. But in The Binding of Isaac: Rebirth, this permadeath in a brutal as hell difficulty adds something totally new. With excellent randomization and array of content, I'm still seeing items, bosses, and entirely new types of dungeons, even after a whole day playing this intense twin-stick shooter. And every so often, I pause for a moment and appreciate that I'm playing as a traumatized naked child who's destroying poop monsters and zombie babies by crying on them because his mother tried to kill him. So it's something we can all relate to. Randomized maps, collectible hearts, keys, and bombs are inspired by the original Legend of Zelda, but the choices you make strongly affect the gameplay. Some items can substitute your hearts with black hearts, which cannot be replenished, but can bring destructive power to Isaac's tears because you're basically selling your soul to the devil. That brings a surprising depth in shots that can be launched further than their inherent range or stray off their natural four-directional path. So you're going to be creating a new path, whether diagonal or curved. And one of the best things about The Binding of Isaac Rebirth is that every time I play, Isaac ends up looking and behaving radically different. Usually within a few moments of starting a run, he begins as a strangely adorable, big-headed pink child with teary eyes that launch projectiles at enemies. But picking up an item from behind a golden door can enhance his powers while disfiguring him in one of the 100 different horrible ways. You might pick up an item that turns him into a Cyclops that fires huge mega tears, and then next you'll find a power-up that'll embed a meteorite in his head and cause his tears to orbit around him. Or you might get some drugs in his system and his tears start firing super fast. Even better, if you find one and the other, Isaac will become a Cyclops with a meteorite embedded in his head that's on drugs with giant, powerful, fast tears orbiting around him. I think that's awesome. Obliterating any flies, spiders, or bloated corpse babies nearby. Those continue to stack as you move from dungeon to dungeon, which sometimes allow you to become wildly overpowered and yet still vulnerable to like an unforeseen enemy type or stepping on spikes, which I found out is a way of giving blood to the devil. For hopes of power-ups, you'll lose everything when you die, so the stakes rise with every promising new discovery. It keeps you guessing and adapting to new powers and challenges, all the while rewarding you with a new adventure, more power-ups, and more enemies. Figuring out the functions of some of these items can be a bit frustrating because the game does not give you enough clues on certain items to know what they are used for. Petrified poop? Well, anyways, the movement and attack patterns of several different types of spiders, hostile feces, ghosts, zombies, centipedes, blobs, bloating heads, burrowing worms, shielded skulls, inhabiting fleshy creatures, and more are all different. And just when I think I've got them figured out, they throw new combinations or variants of the beast at me and send me back to the beginning where the whole cycle begins again. Sometimes with an unlockable alternate character that changes up my starting stats, yes, you heard me, alternate characters, you're not stuck playing Isaac the whole time. If you can complete the task assigned for each character, like not getting hit once, you'll unlock some pretty interesting characters, some overpowered. The addiction in this game is in its replay value. It's never the same experience twice. The Binding of Isaac Rebirth gets 2 thumbs up and is definitely a must-buy for any gamer who's looking for a challenge, and a strange but quirky story. Anyways, thanks, Save Pointers. That's all I have for today.
That's all the time we have for today, Save Pointers. Time to return to the home menu.
We'll see you next time, but until then, we have reached
the Save Points.